Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I'm here on Wednesday because the alternative sucks, but we are here for Wepisode 5. I still feel bad. I still feel real bad. Last week we watched Wepisode... Fuck. Oh, it just tastes so bad coming out of my mouth. I don't like it. Last week we watched episode 4 of Wonder Egg Priority. We met a new character, Momoe, or Momo, or Momotaro, depending on who you are and what you want to call her, and we don't really know what she wants to be called, but that's okay. And we dealt with a whole bunch of traumatic incidents. We finally defeated the suicidal and murderous Yu fan, who was then going after the other suicidal Yu fans, and we did it by really a solid team up between I and Rika, which was really kind of cool. We also saw some Neiru stuff with her improving and getting back on her feet after her previous injuries or condition, or it's not entirely clear what she was dealing with, whether it was just aftermath from Wonder Egg fights or something else. Just not quite certain. And we brought Momo, I think, into our little group. We had a little cute conversation with her and talked about some stuff and talked about how cool and sexy Adam's apples are, which is a really weird conversation, but at the same time, it's like precisely the kind of conversation that a random group of girls would totally have. And it was a great episode. Our characters are beginning to, as far as I can tell, as far as I can glean from where we're going with this show, beginning to heal by reaching out to other people and by finding others to not exactly wallow in self-pity or other pity with, but to just exist with and just be all right with and be near, and getting a lot of comfort from that, and there's like a lot of power to being part of a society and like working with people who are great. Ooh, speaking of societies, we also introduced a whole bunch of more systemic problems and weirdnesses that make me think that maybe, just maybe, this whole Wonder Egg thing that we're doing, where we go to this weird dream world and we have two mannequin people tell us what to do, and then we go and we save some girls who then vanish into smoke and aren't actually saved, in order to save some other girls who are fully dead in the real world, might not work the way that we want it to, but, you know, here's hoping that this isn't all a horrifying, monstrous bullshit thing that we're just gonna get to the end and it'll be like, haha, Aka and Aka are actually the big evil bosses, and they're like, thank you for powering us up by feeding us all your trauma or something. Because, you know, if I were DMing this weird game, that's totally what I would do. Which means that I'm a simple storyteller, which is true. But I'm a little worried. Yeah, I'm just a smidge worried about where we're actually going with this. In the meantime, though, I'm excited to see more out of our characters. I'm excited to see how the direction shifts episode to episode and how the really excellent visual everything keeps being excellent. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to... God fucking damn it, hair, get on my face! I think that's all I really wanted to talk about here at the beginning. Let's jump into Wonder Egg Priority Episode 5 and see what new terrors await our wonderful characters. I've got the episode up and ready to go. Using the subs please version off of Nya as usual. It's at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description. Timer on YouTube, and if you want the next one a little early, it'll be up on Patreon soonish. So, beep beep timer. Let's watch some web. Gonna try and tuck this shit away. Get on my feet. It's almost long enough to just actually... Oh, are we in a fight? Whoa. Whoa, wait, what is that? What is that? Wait, have we never seen Neiru's weapon? Wow, that's... What the fuck? Ah, you are an egg girl. What the fuck? Oh, okay, you're just a capitalist pig. Literally. It's like a dog head in a suit of... Sure. Hmm. Hmm. I really like that character design. Ho! What? Is that Neiru? Is her thing like a fucking grenade launcher thing? It's like an evil Michelin Man. Or Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Oh no! What? Power up. Oh yeah, that's fucking cool. I'm having a real hard time paying attention to this guy. I see. So you're also a rapist. Cool. Please. Right in the dick. Nope. Okay, that works. Again. Again. Yay. All right, this is sick as fuck. Cool. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow, they created that sound of all of the vibrating wires. Holy shit. Please. Also, that was kind of hot in a weird way. Sorry. Good. Well. Yay. Of course. Ooh. So Neiru is also... He's got some problems. Oh, it's a protract. Oh. Is that so? Yeah, it still affects her. Ding. Ah, that title. That's right. The Girl Flautist. I wonder who that refers to. Everybody's at here. At here? At home. Ah, you brought an oyage. A little gift. Come, yeah, come on. Oh, the 5 little flowers. What's that about? Mm-hmm. Is Sensei here? Ara, indeed. Hey. Ah. All right, you are so demanding. This is true. That's genuinely supportive and good. No, stop it. No. No being a little twerp. This is true. But it's friendship. Yep, we're watching it happen. Yeah, we're just watching it happen. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, maybe we should stop talking about this, but please keep talking. Are you gonna share that shit? Come on. Hmm. Fuck you! Stop it! No! God, fuck, shit, go, no! I also think that's possible. Oh, he's here. Oh, no. Oh, what a frame. Okay. Yeah, well, you think that. Yeah, maybe he murders them. Maybe he cuts them apart. Yeah, maybe he fucking just dissects them. I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think so. Alright, just because all of this shit is coming from Rika, I fully doubt all of it now. But it terrifies me. Ugh, fucking Schrodinger's douchebag. Yeah, let's not speculate. Let's fucking investigate. Follow the teacher. Find out what he does with those cats. Alright, you're going way too far with the speculation now. Yeah, it could, but it probably isn't. I think he just wants to date your fucking mom. I really think that's what he wants. Hmm. What? Why? Why does that make you laugh, Neiru? That was really cute. Yeah, that won't go over well. Yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah, you're on the greatest drug of all time. Eggs. Well, we're watching, but yes. Hmm. Hmm. Huh? Oh, he's an art dude. He's also seemingly really good. Okay. Did she? Because unrequited love? No. I believe that. Are those normally bones? Oh, yes, so perfect. Oh, too perfect. We're talking about all this personal shit. That's true enough. Spill beans. Okay, great. Spill beans anyway. Oh! What? This has no effect upon me. Oh, got her. Yeah, that's the side spot right here. For sure. Okay, that's really... Oh, God, oh no. What a transition from laughter to laughter. Huh? Hey. Yeah, get the fuck off. Huh? Oh, so exactly what Rico was talking about. Okay, what the fuck are you on about? That's nice. Okay. Oh, I see. Nope, I'm here to do a job. Woof. Ah, it's a weird hairstylist thing. Ah, they're like fucking Pac-Man ghosts. This is true. Sure, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Obsessed with appearance. Alright, that's cool as hell. Oh my god, Neiru, you're so... Oh. I can agree with that to an extent, but... Huh? Yeah, she is... That is not helping. What do you do in an egg fight where the egg girl refuses to help? Oh, that was full spooky. What the shit? Anachronistic is absolutely the word for this episode. This is all over the place. Oh, butterfly on the side. Ah. Actually, really quite like Takarazuka. No. She is straight. Okay. That's true enough. Heh. It really is. That's kind of precisely what it is. That's great. One game of Dagadeo. Hmm. Hmm. This is true. Thank God for eggs. Except when she tried to bang you. Sorry, I should be more. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, but that was the most important line of the episode. I'm almost certain. What should I have done? Silence. Cool. This is true. That's also true. Yeah, pushy pushy. It's almost like actually coming out of your trauma and being okay is not what they want. What's with this? This is like to the point of being intentional. Ha! I don't like it, but she has a point. What's your answer, I? Have to put that to rest. Very well. Boundary crossed. Bye, Neiru. Sister. Huh? With the protractor? Whoa. Whoa, not with a protractor. Because the pain remains, and that helps. Hell yeah. Neiru gets it, I think. Hmm. Hmm. Hello again. The confusion of multiple voices is throughout the episode. She. Look behind the glasses. Hell yeah. Oh, the real one is the hair? Okay. That's a real unique egg fight. Your sister? I would love to know more about that. So Neiru soldiers on alone. Great shot. But we're all walking through kind of alone. Hey, hi. Yeah. Fuck off. End? Okay, that's the weirdest episode we've had so far. By a long shot. I have a theory about Koito now. Punch Drunk Day. Okay. Interesting. This episode is really weird for a multitude of reasons. One is that there's no resolution to anything that happens in the episode as far as I'm concerned. Except that we kill the real wonder killer of that world, who is the girl with the hair, or it is her hair, or something like that. But she's attached to her trauma, right? And so she won't let it go. That's really interesting. And so Neiru has to turn that on her. Okay, but I want to avoid getting drawn into any of the particular scenes in the episode, because first I want to talk on a much broader level about the way the episode is structured. Pretty much every episode so far has had a coherent structure and has made some sense. Now, there's been some jumping around between wonder places and real places and the egg place and other places and some timeline fuckery and stuff like that, but never on the level that we get in this episode. It's to the point where it's as though we're almost in a montage is how this episode feels to me. This is a montage of them growing to become closer friends, and then also hitting those like points that are a little bit sticky, that have a little bit of tension and friction between them before they can actually function as any kind of unit. Things like Neiru and Rika don't get along on a lot of things. Rika is really abrasive sometimes, and a lot of the other girls, it will get on her nerves, but they all have these individualities, and that's how a friend group works. I think in a broad sense, what this episode demonstrates to us is their growing friendship and their process of healing, because these characters are 100% in a better place than they were at episode 1 through 3, right? Like 100% in a better place. They are acting like they have friends. There are friends coming over to Ai's house. She's not alone constantly. She feels like she's growing into that sunflower. And this is the moment that I was looking for. As she just looks at her friends arguing it with each other, not with venom or vitriol, just with a casual sort of friendly sort of air to their argument. And she looks at them with this smile and sees them and looks across them. And it's only when we bring up Koito and Sawaki sensei that things get a little bit weedy wonkety again. Their traumas are still the sticking points of their friendship and their ability to work as a quartet, but they're getting there. They really are, and that's super cool. Okay. However, there are more sticking points and there are more issues. And I gotta, okay, hold on. I gotta reskim the episode so that I don't get stuck in this idea of like diving into particular scenes, because I'm tempted to do immediately that. And I want to avoid doing that. Okay, I'm immediately gonna do that. Neiru getting tickled. This is really fucking cute. This is great. And then we transition into a Wonder Girl, who is the worst. And we start putting in this double think. Like one character is talking while another character is talking. It reaches a peak once we're in the like egg world with Aka and Uraaka, who are having their own conversation over the characters who are having their own conversation as though they can't even hear each other. And it creates this really strange cognitive dissonance. And I think it's intentional. I think it's meant to give us this feeling of cognitive dissonance, which makes sense for our characters to be experiencing as they have their own rushing thoughts about all the traumas that they've dealt with, and these new thoughts about becoming like normal and whole again. Those things come into conflict. How do you feel normal when you're still trying to reconcile with your trauma? You're in a position where you're healing, where you're becoming better, but you're not there yet. You're not okay. And so everything seems to clash inside of you. This evokes, instead of like putting a finger on something and pointing at it and going, this is what's going on, this instead uses the medium of animation and also the way that dialogue works to evoke a feeling of internal dissonance. And that's really cool. Same with the way that we jump into this wonder fight and also jump back out, and the way that we bounce from time to time without any real sense of the flow of time. I don't know whether a week or a month or a couple days passed over the course of this episode and the various hijinks that our Wonder Girls get up to. I just don't know. Okay. This girl is hyper obsessed with looks and things like that, and we can assume that she chose to kill herself because her beauty would fade as she aged, and she wanted to end herself before becoming a failed butterfly, right? Like, get right past that moment of metamorphosis into a butterfly that she talks about in Metaphor, and then become ugly and awful and blah, blah, blah. There's a specific line that she uses a little bit later where she says it's like a travesty either to become old and ugly or to try to stay young looking and put on a false face. I agree with the latter, not the former. I do think that trying desperately to cling on to your youth is, I think there's a reason that a lot of villains have the remain immortal as their situation, and it ties into the first fight that we only see shreds of, where this hyper-capitalist guy is effectively like a brain in a jar being sustained continuously by whatever fluid is in there. So we can assume that this is some business mogul capitalist type who has used his wealth to ensure a long life, right? Something like that. And it's unclear what he's trying to take for you came looking I am God, love. I don't know. It's I guess because Neiru doesn't completely understand her, we don't get to understand her either, and so Neiru just assasses the guy without really coming to any kind of true comprehension of what's going on here. That's an interesting element of Neiru's way of dealing with these. She's just here to do the mission, but in doing so, doesn't she miss a part of the point? Perhaps, but it's hard to say. It's unclear. Okay. No place for you. Yeah, I'm the only one who will love you. Scared and ran back home. It's unclear. That's the kind of relationship you should have built. Let's blow off each other's steam. So I get big sexual predator vibes and weirdness, but I'm really not sure. In a more specific sense, Neiru's cool weaponry and her mode of fighting is the coolest shit ever, and this whole sequence ends up being a really dramatic, bombastic battle. The location of the bridge is fantastic. The way that all of the wires of the bridge vibrate and we get this in the background after a big explosion is super duper neat. And she stabs him in the dick because that's where his brain is. Cool. Makes all of the perfect sense. We also get this whole sequence here. Neiru buys into that give and give idea, that the world is still give and take. I'm here for a purpose, and you are giving me that purpose, and that's all. But this character, it made me happy. There's a reason for it beyond your own reasons. Is that valid in and of itself? Perhaps. That's interesting regardless. Okay, through the OP. to hear. Friends, come in. The awkwardness of there are so many little moments of character and characterization and things that are just like perfectly nailing particular social interactions and particular awkwardnesses. The awkwardness of first having friends over to your home, besides Rika, who's been here before. The way that Rika sort of just runs the place once she walks in. She's like, hey, Ai's mom, do all this shit for me. Thank you. Is also quite on the money for certain types of people. But it just continues in a very Kyoani, very Naoko Yamada sort of way, nailing these little character interactions in the best of ways. Neiru, of course, brings a gift coming from a more traditional sort of an upbringing. She brings a gift, and Ai's mom is like, oh, thank you. You're so polite. You're like the best. We meet Sawaki, the niece. Right. You're really my uncle's students. So this is something to find out. Crazy popular. I think Koito liked Mr. Sawaki too, and Rika has this idea. And the thing about this is the idea that me, you, a lot of you, because people have been commenting on it as well, I've been saying for a while, which is, gosh, Sawaki sensei's got to be a creep. There's something fucking freaky going on there. There's something real bad. But we haven't seen that. We haven't seen proof of that in any way, shape, or form. We have only seen him comforting a girl and like touching her in a way that's uncomfortably close, but not precisely explicit or wrong or terribly weird. It's a little weird, it's a little uncomfortable, but we just don't know enough to know. And then Rika, a character who we have come to definitely not trust the intuition of, spouts all of this. Maybe Koito was actually dating Mr. Sawaki. But if she was dating him, then why wouldn't he draw her? Right? Then something terrible happened and maybe she was pregnant or something. Okay, we have company. Ai's friends are here. Impossible. He's so nice that he adopts a lot of rescue cats. And we see all of this framing of him as well. Now, here's the issue. This comes down to trust. And this is something that Berger writes about a little bit, and other theorists write about a little bit. When it comes to the way that the camera frames other people, we generally trust it. Meaning that if somebody is shot at a Dutch angle with shadows over them, we generally trust that the camera is showing them the way that we are meant to interpret them, and that it is accurate to their reality, despite being symbolic, right? So when we in Evangelion see characters looking like glum and depressed, shot from above, sitting in a chair, yes, it's the Shinji shot, we trust that the camera is giving us an accurate portrayal of the way that we should see that character and how that character feels right now and who that character is. But in a show that is so dramatically about perspective and lens and the way that we see things, where our perspective is so untethered to Mr. Sawaki and is so tethered to Ai, who is definitely suspicious of her, we see him with suspicion. And it might not be justified. Or it's justified by certain things that she's seen and is curious about, but it might not be accurate. The camera can lie to us, and we have to be aware of that. Because the people who are controlling the camera are Ai and our main characters. And they might be suspicious when it's not warranted. Okay, a teacher got hands-on with a student and things got dicey and bam, jam, blah, blah. Haha, pregnant. She just keeps going too far. I really don't know why Koito died. So why not ask your mom? I really can't. Maybe he only checks. See, this starts to get so conspiracy theory-ish. It makes me genuinely believe, in a weird meta-narrative sense, if Mr. Sawaki was a child molester / rapist, and that's the reason that Koito is dead, Rika would not, as a character, say this. Unless we're being double metagamed and they're doing this because that's the truth, and we're like, okay, it's not true because Rika is actually bringing it to the forefront. Really hard to say. But I think that this episode because it actively puts suspicion on Mr. Sawaki, is precisely the opposite and is demonstrating to us little clues and hints for why he has little to do with what happened and is probably not the source of the problem. Or if he is the source of the problem, it was unintentional. That is something else about the episode that's really interesting. It has to deal with individual regrets a lot. Like a lot. Individual regrets a lot. This feeling of being unwilling to move past those regrets, and these moments where we talk about the impossibility of doing anything different. I'm just not sure. Okay, stopped asking for my injuries. The clam joke occurs, and we bounce out of that tense moment into a goofy moment. This is friendship stuff. Tension builds, and we find a way around it. And we find a way to keep the conversation more light and to keep going. But we keep brushing shoulders with the trauma. This feels super real in terms of the way these characters converse and what they converse about, and how the simple sort of thoughtless speech of some characters or some people in a group can cause others to become really nervous and unsettled and uncomfortable. That makes a lot of sense, and it feels very real to me. Okay, tell her you're going to go out to fight in your sleep. She'd never believe you. It's our story that nobody else knows about. We walk past here. Momoe's here, recognized her. They're in different schools, but how they meet, and I hides. Okay. So we get this pan up. There's no reason to have a complex. Your eyes are charming. And I thought immediately that this is Koito, but it's not. It's I. And she's drawing I. Or he's drawing I. And there's nothing sinister about the way he's doing so. Just drawing her. But why? When it's finished, I want you to have confidence. All of this reads as someone who is getting something out of this, which is a model for his art, but who is also trying to help somebody feel more confident with themselves, the way that, like a guidance counselor might. He's doing a really, a really good guidance counselor thing to do, is to, use your own passions in order to help the children. That's, good stuff. Maybe he's a rapist, child molester, murderer, bad guy. But he doesn't seem like one, does he? The only thing that makes him seem like one is the suspicious way that I looks at him, isn't it? And we innately trust I. Because she's our main character. But she can be wrong. Okay, lots of power lines. Power lines and red skies, to me, just evoke Lane stuff. They make me think of being trapped. They feel like wires caging the scene in, and chaos as well, but also in a weird way connection and technology and things like that. Sawaki's entering it in the next exhibition. He says he wants to win a prize and make a living as a painter. A painting of me, confident. If not, you should decline. Mr. Sawaki's future is on the line. Feet. And then we see them talking and her laughing. A big chunk of this episode seems to be about the chance, the possibility that certain of the egg girls are fully responsible for their own fates. That no exterior trauma occurred. Nobody directly abused them, that they are the reason that they killed themselves. We get it in the second character who Neiru helps, and we get it when we talk about Neiru's sister. And I think Neiru is the only one of them who really understands this possibility. She's doing this for herself, believing that it's not necessarily true that everyone can or should be saved. That's harsh as hell. But because that is present with these particular revelations about Koito, I'm going to posit a theory that I don't like very much, but is possible. What if Koito was in love with Sawaki-sensei and was trying to be with him as much as possible? What if not, you should decline, and the way she holds her feet and the awkwardness of this scene. A painting of me, confident. If not, you should decline. Mr. Sawaki's future is on the line. And then we're here with I making this choice. Okay. I've got two theories. One is Mr. Sawaki did paint I. Because he's not painting in this shot. He might be sketching. He may be sketching her. But he's not using an easel, so I don't know. Wait, was he using an easel before? No, he was doing precisely like this. It's just that the easel is nearby. So he may be drawing her. Okay, so I refuses. Oh, shit. I have a theory. I refuses to be painted because she feels awkward about it, because her own self-confidence issues. She steps down, as Koito gently suggested that she do. Sawaki-sensei draws Koito. Sawaki-sensei doesn't win the exhibition. Koito blames herself. Koito kills herself. Because she has some internalized things about her own attractiveness, right? They're some of the first things that we find out about her. That strikes me as deeply possible. If that is the case, or if something like it is the case, then Koito is in large part responsible for her own misinterpretation of the world and for her own death. There was no abuse present, and there's no saving her. Oh no. But this is all hypothetical. Let's get back to the actual show and what's actually here. It's a really interesting idea. Okay, so they all start sharing things like deep and secret things about their lives and their families and stuff, except for Neiru. We talk about Sawaki and Momo and stuff like that. We talk about Ai, and she reveals some things that she has yet to reveal about Koito and her relationship to her and the way that the world worked. Also, Momo reveals some things about the way that girls keep treating her and how she feels weird about it. And it becomes unclear. The way she talks about being shaking and really freaking out makes it unclear whether she is just really nervous and hasn't accepted herself and maybe would have accepted those advances if she understood herself a little bit better, or if she's just straight and was freaked out by girls trying to have sex with her constantly because of her slightly boyish nature. Either way, woof, and big reveals about really personal things. It shows a level of intimacy that these characters are reaching. Not like physical intimacy, but like social and psychological intimacy where they feel comfortable revealing some of those more intimate secrets. And that is, I think, the coolest thing about this episode is the way that it demonstrates these characters slowly changing to fit each other, right? Like people change like puzzle pieces when they meet other people, and when they spend a lot of time together, literally shift into formations that can like fit together better, or they bounce off and never speak again, right? It's interesting and weird, but it's true, I think. And I think this episode does an incredible job of demonstrating that. Mom is always perfect. That's probably why my dad left. A capable woman actually spoils them. Looks at Neiru. Okay. And coochie coochie coo, tickle tickle tickle. And we finally get Neiru to break. And then we transition from this moment of like breaking down her exterior, her eggshell, if you will, to, oh shit, we're in a fight. And this girl is all about the exterior and really creepy. Aren't you going to ask about me? Why I died? Blah, blah, blah. And she just explains it on her own, even though Neiru doesn't want to know. So much vitriol and so much hatred in this person. Also, the whole sequence and all of the fighting is the coolest shit. This stuff bouncing around is amazing. The running scenes are awesome. Even the way this character walks is crazy. You're pretty too. Why don't you die? Why not die when you're at your most beautiful? And here we start to get our cognitive dissonance. How do I beat the mirror, mirror on the wall? We start to get like double talk, double think. Also, just because it's a few seconds of awesomeness. That whole sequence is the craziest creepy shit that we've had, and I love it. I love it to pieces. It's super good. And we just walk through a bunch of locations. Butterfly, rainbow, flowers on the left side. Interesting, but unknown. Closed store, and down we go. We find ourselves in a bowling alley. Momo reveals some things about her own stuff. You don't like that, right? God sure is cruel. And Akka and Uraraka are like, all right, come on, do the thing that you're supposed to do. Come on, we need you to do this thing for reasons that we're not being very forthright about. Please buy your eggs, get out of here. I do love the way that they react to this. And the little, I guess it's almost like a gag at this point of the characters going to the little red-cheeked, little frowny mouths, almost chibi-fied versions of themselves, but without changing the exterior of the character design, and just being like, no, we don't want to, we're still kids, is really fun, and I like it a lot. It's just really great. This is basically a kind of group therapy. Yeah, to let us know that we're not alone. So there are two things here. One, the way that they sort of like act as a team to fight the system sort of and, get to play a game of bowling, which is really minor, is an indicator of a level of friendship. It's like a flag. This is like, oh, they've hit a point. There's something to this. But they're also fucking right. And it's super funny because they're using, this is group therapy as an excuse, but the truth is it is 100% group therapy, and over the course of the episode, we watch them become better friends and become better individually because they have connections to other people, which is super cool. Thank God for eggs, yes indeed. All my photos with girls come out like that. Haruka took this one for me, your friend who killed herself. So we get a clearer picture of what happened with Haruka. Which is that Haruka approached her in a sexual manner, and Momo was either fully not into it or certainly not ready for that kind of thing. Not psychologically stable or sexually stable. She's young. That makes sense. And so she pushed her away, and that rejection is probably what caused Haruka to jump in front of a train, which sucks. But we have a really important line a little bit later that I really want to talk about. You don't expect it to come from a girl who's your friend. And then she says, I got chills, I was shaking, what should I have done? So first off, the I got chills, I was shaking implies that maybe there was something there, but we don't know. Maybe she was just really scared. Either way, the next question is the important one. And I'm going to let this play with audio because I think it's really important to note the audio timing of this scene.
どうすればよかったんだろう
6 full seconds of silence, 2 shots of things in the region, like random things around that are just there, okay? So those shots are building tension, and the extra time of silence is also building tension. Why? Why? I want you to think about this answer, or think about this question.
どうすればよかったんだろう
What should I have done? Blink, 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 blink. The person who interrupts it doesn't answer it, instead diverts the conversation. Why? Why? Because there's no answer. And that means 2 things. One, it means some situations, some seeming betrayals, some mistakes are unavoidable. There isn't necessarily a good answer for what Momo should have done. She could have been kinder about her rejection, perhaps. But that doesn't mean that Haruka wouldn't still see it as a rejection and wouldn't still see it as a rejection of her whole being from the person that she loved or was infatuated with, whatever. Momo could have gone with the flow and effectively been put into a sexual encounter that she was deeply uncomfortable with, traumatizing herself, helping someone else at her own expense. But that's not a solution. Eventually, Haruka would figure that shit out, and it would come to another rejection. Sometimes there isn't an answer. Sometimes there isn't a way to save someone. sometimes there isn't a solution. And so these 6 seconds of silence, I think, are the most important thing in the episode. Because we may find that there wasn't a way to save Koito. That it was perhaps her own choice and there might not have been a trauma involved. We find a little bit later when Neiru defeats the hair girl that there wasn't a way to save her except to destroy herself, right? Well, let's drop the gloomy talk. Nobody can address this uncomfortable truth, this really uncomfortable fact of what they're doing, which is that there is a distinct possibility that they can't save the people they're trying to save, and that there is no response that they could have made in the past. There's also something deeply painful about this, about looking back upon a situation that you have regrets about and recognizing that the way that you acted, despite it having awful outcomes, is the only way you could have acted. And that your guilt and your regret might never leave. It might be justified. You might not be able to shed it. This is a dark little moment. And so that's why as soon as it happened, I wanted to bring attention to it. Because this is a dark little moment where they don't have an answer to this question. What should I have done? And it's a broader question than just the specific instance that Momo is talking about, right? For all of them, the actions that they have been taken. There is no proof anywhere in this world, nothing has proven to us that any of them will be able to alter the past or bring back their friends. We have no proof that the best solution or the best result is anything but reconciling their guilt. There's no proof. And I personally don't think that their friends can come back. It's not for them. It's for them, right? It's not for the Egg Girls. It's for the Wonder Girls. They're alive. They have a chance to improve, to become better, to avoid such situations in the future if they can. But sometimes you can't. And that's terrifying. Okay. Lots of other games. Bro, where's the harm? And off they go. So we start questioning that. You don't completely hate being popular. And that's true. There's just a lot of Momo that hasn't really spent the deep time in self-consideration. That's how she strikes me, as someone who is just sort of acting on instinct a lot and hasn't really tried to reconcile herself and the way that the world sees her and her own sexuality and her own gender expression and all of these things are unconscious instead of conscious. And so she just has answers for these things, but she's not necessarily sure why. The way we jump from scene to scene is really interesting. Okay, and then we get here, and we start with our dual dialogues a lot. I don't want to leave. I don't want to buy eggs. Fuck this shit. I don't want this. Your fault for spoiling them. And here we go. Neiru, can I have your contact info? I'm not spoiling them. Soldiers need their rest. Really interesting to call them soldiers. Soldiers go under orders and are not fighting for themselves. They're fighting for a greater something, for some kind of hierarchy, which is very interesting. Yes, tell me yours too. Too much rest will make them slack off like you do. Okay. And then Rika has our first, for a lot of this conversation, has the first solo line, which is, what if we just stopped? What if we just didn't do this? That's an interesting thought, Rika. What if? And everyone kind of looks at her. You know, Chemi died on her own. I was the reason, but why do I have to feel this way after she's already gone? Why do I have to feel so responsible? Guilty? Maybe. Pained? Maybe. But this responsible? Doesn't that seem a little bit unfair? Well, no, not for you, Rika. You really were at fault there, Rika, girl. Just a little bit. You're like the most at fault of the ones that we know about. For sure. Okay. And Neiru, I knew it. What I saw was just an act. You're not really okay. You're really brutal. What about you, Momo? Are you responsible? And she looks away. Is she? These are gray lines. It's impossible to say. Are you the cause? Almost certainly. Are you responsible? Because the situation for Momo is she did what felt right for her in the moment, which was to reject Haruka. And that led to Haruka's death. But there was no way that Momo could have known that that was the case. And there was no intent to cause such pain, right? In avoiding her own pain, the weirdness of being treated like an object of sexual interest by women constantly, by girls constantly, and then the weirdness of being, in a sense, betrayed by the one girl that she said thought of her as a girl. Trying to avoid those, she caused harm. But did she? Is it her fault? No. So Rika brings up a really interesting point that everyone wants to reject, and I want to reject it too, because I'm a big fan of taking responsibility for things that aren't necessarily your complete responsibility. To an extent, some people refer to it as like radical ownership, and just taking responsibility for the things that happen around you in your life. Is I find it really powerful, and really freeing in a strange way to just say, yes, that is my fault. Yes, that was me. Cool. Because it means that you have maybe an illusion of, but at least a powerful illusion of control. I don't know. Should we really feel so responsible that we'd risk our own lives? Well. And I just tells her, stop it already. Especially you. She died without even talking to you. Maybe because she blames I in some way, or maybe because she thought I was in some way, like a rival for Sawaki's love or something like that. I don't know. It's hard to assume anything about Koito. They've built this character in the background to be someone so mysterious that we just don't know. So why do you keep going? Curiosity. And you don't even know if Koito wants to come back. And Rika crosses the line. We see it. Why would you say that? Stop it. Someone has to be the bad guy. If you want friends, you've got them. And Neiru just leaves. Neiru is trying to save her sister, and she contradicts her. No, I'm not. I'm trying to save myself. The pain physically aches. But it fades when I go there. And so I go there. Much simpler. And we see that that was no small injury. Not even a little bit. The scar aches like a curse. But it's for me. As she slips those shoes on and puts on her shell again. Then Aka and Ura-Aka. You don't have to go if you don't want to. Reverse psychology engaged. Guilt and curiosity fade. It's fine. You don't have to go. Good, right? I mean, that's just adolescence. So they present to us a worse option, which is just to ignore the very real pain and regret and all of that stuff, knowing that none of these characters are going to do that, and thus tricking them, in a way, into continuing their own journey and grabbing more eggs. I don't know, man. Okay. Total cognitive dissonance. Beauty is a momentary season of metamorphosis, along with this classic line from Snow White about the hyper-envious and vengeful witch, which is the one who does the mirror mirror thing, right? There's something terribly creepy about constantly worrying and constantly placing yourself against other people in this kind of a way. It's also really cool, and these monsters are the craziest shit. These fucking hair Pac-Man ghosts are awesome. Dying is the same. Killing your own beautiful body is another metamorphosis. Ideas, thoughts, cognitive dissonance. Getting old and ugly or trying to resist aging are both comedy. I disagree with the first one. I think trying to resist aging is, well, I don't think it's comical, but I do think it's sad. I think the ability to accept one's own aging and life is the thing that all of the older people that I know who are happy or close to happy share, is that they're okay with their own mortality and their own aging. Something that we have to come to. There must be a real one. Who? The real villain is the victim in this situation. That's a terrible thing to realize. I will say, Neiru's catchphrase, "I'm going to blow your mind," fucking awesome. It's super dope. Shoots her in the hair. So I'm unclear whether it didn't, you just got on my nerves. You actually regret it. After all, no one will ever call you pretty again. And she cries and bursts into dust. Why don't I die? The fireworks are so out of place. They were out of place the first time with the big capitalist guy, but they're also so out of place here because it feels like Neiru has completed her task without gaining anything. Why don't I die, huh? And then she turns to her sister. You tempted me to die, didn't you? I don't know. Okay, some cool walk cycles. Neiru completely straight backed. They pass each other, but without interacting. And then these all interact with each other. And Aka and Ura-Aka, they'll want to go if we say not to. They know that doing that will build up their own identities. And I think it's Aka just laughs in the creepiest way. And even Ura-Aka is looking at him like, bro, you're a little creepy. We see Neiru separate from the others. Just a little bit. I really wonder if that's going to become a thematic element or an important element, if Neiru is going to become more separate from the others, who have begun healing as friends, but she's being pushed away by her own isolation, her own feelings of being different from them because she doesn't have anyone she wants to save. Not really. Or maybe she just needs to realize some reason that she does want to save her sister. I don't think so. We also don't get a lot of that story, do we? We don't get any understanding of what her relationship with her sister was, how they, like, why did she stab her and then jump off a bridge? I don't know. Just don't know. Okay, this is a really weird episode, and I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it. It feels less cohesive than a lot of the episodes that have come before, but that also feels like part of the point. Again, it sort of feels like a montage episode that hits on a bunch of things and is actually the line that Ura-Aka says about growing their identities is precisely what seems to happen over the course of this episode. We see and understand more about our characters, a lot more, and we start to see them intermingle and work together in really great social ways and also not so great social ways, you know, the way that friends do. That's really interesting. We bring in some other elements, the fact that Momo is Sawaki's niece, the questions and curiosity around Sawaki-sensei. Again, the way that Rika talks about him makes me think that he's not in any way at fault, but I don't know. I still don't trust him at all, but I'm also not trusting the camera at all, and I'm at the point where I don't trust anything about the show. Very much in the same way that Lane you start to realize that things in a show like Lane are not as they seem. I'm beginning to get this feeling like maybe I don't trust the way that things are structured. Also, something that happens all the time in Ikuhara shows, which again cements my feeling that this is like Kyoani Penguin Drum with some other shit mixed in there. And some flip flappers. Gotta have some magical girls. Okay. I really hope we spend more time with the what I still think is the most interesting scene of the episode, which is where Momo asks, "What should I have done?" and we get that silence. I really hope we address that question more. And I really hope that we go deeper on the possibility that there is not necessarily an answer to it. Just because life is fucking complicated and people are complicated. And sometimes you can really fuck people over without wanting to. Jeez. Okay, well, this scrambled my brains effectively. I feel like somebody took a two-prong, little hand mixer and stuck it inside the back of my head and went and blah, 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 blah. So I've got scrambled brains in the brain space. With that, we're gonna wrap. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Wonder Egg Priority, Wepisode 5. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I hope you have more thoughts on it than I do, and maybe a totally different perspective on it, because that's fair. There's a shitload of stuff to have a totally different perspective on in this episode, and maybe I missed something that ties everything that seems kind of scattered in the episode, that ties it together, and I just didn't pick up on it. Totally possible, and it almost feels that that is the case. But I look forward to seeing what people comment about this episode and what people say in the Discord. If you want to access the Discord or the next week's episode a little bit early, you can get those things on Patreon. It's linked in the description. Otherwise, I will see you next week for the next episode of Wonder Egg Priority. Peace.